Near 5,000 islands form an intricate network of channels with shoals, reefs, and narrow passages, making maritime signaling a vital need, which is provided by our service, facing these hard conditions and others like tsunamis and earthquakes. For this reason, the preservation of lighthouses has become a difficult task for the Chilean Navy and a real challenge. When planning the maintenance of a lighthouse under extreme conditions, efforts in terms of human and economic resources must be considered. Therefore, AtoN navigation authorities had the need to look for viable alternative uses and different ways of preservation, always considering that this alternative use should not interfere with the main function of the lighthouse and should enable their correct performance. With the aim of conserving and restoring historical lighthouses, the Chilean AtoN Navigation Service has applied the following 3 strategies: a renewal plan, comodatum contracts or loan for use contracts, and finally the proclamation of lighthouses as national monuments. Now we will review our first strategy, the renewal plan. The renewal plan was originated with the automation of lighthouses, which were mostly maintained and operated by naval personnel who lived there. Then there was a subsequent need to elaborate a maintenance and restoration plan to all manned and unmanned lighthouses. This renewal plan brought along the allocation of funds by Directemar to the maintenance of AtoN navigation structures and facilities, especially those of historical value. On the following 2 slides, we can see an example of a lighthouse restored with funds of the renewal plan. We have another one. And now we will briefly review the second strategy, is the comodatum contract. In this case, we have 2 lighthouses, Magdalena Island and San Isidro. This strategy is favorable in the way that facilities are open to the public, which enhance tourism, allowing people to experience how it would be the life in a lighthouse. Under this contract, the leaser is in charge of the maintenance and repair of the facility. However, in order to ensure the fulfillment of the duties of the AtoN Navigation Service, the responsibility to keep operative the signal is still one of the functions of this service. An example of this strategy is Magdalena Island Lighthouse, which was built in 1902 and in 1981 was delivered to the National Forestry Corporation under contract of loan. It is also a natural monument due to its penguin colony, and today it looks, as you can see in the slide, in good conditions after 108 years. San Isidro Lighthouse is another example of a lighthouse under contract of loan. It was built in the 16th century. It was lent for use to Maritime Macao forward in 1998. With this contract, the inner area of the lighthouse was equipped for a maritime museum to present the history of a lighthouse and their people. Facilities are open to the public, increasing the tourism in the area. Currently, near this lighthouse, there is a lodge for tourists visiting the region. And finally, the third strategy applied is the proclamation of a lighthouse as national monument. The Chilean Navy put forward a proposal to the government to proclaim some lighthouses as national monuments. A total of 8 lighthouses along the Chilean coastline got this status. The benefits of this proclamation are increased tourist interest, and even more important is that lighthouses are protected by law, which aims to guard facilities and avoid their destruction, and at the same time guarantees their preservation. The funds received by the government for the maintenance of national monuments tend to be uncertain, so they are complemented by Directemar. On the other hand, no modifications without authorization of the National Monuments Council can be done. Therefore, all maintenance and repair works to be conducted by the Chilean Navy are specified in the proclamation decree of the Chilean National Monuments Council, and also the responsibility to keep operative the signal is on the Maritime AtoN Navigation Service. On this slide we can see the Cabo Possession Lighthouse. It is located in the 12th region near to Punta Arenas City. It was built in 1900 by George Slide and declared a national monument in 1976. Another example of a lighthouse as a national monument are the Felix Bay and Punta Dungeones lighthouses, which were proclaimed national monument in 2009, along with Punta Delgada, Evangelistas, and San Isidro lighthouses. These two views show how difficult could it be to reach these facilities in order to restore them and to do their maintenance. Analysis of our experience. In the present slide, we will see the advantages of the three different strategies. In case of the renewal plan, the advantages are that maintenance is done by the Navy and directly marked ships and personnel, and therefore it's a priority. It is done also periodically and have an historical maintenance plan. In case of the national monuments lighthouses, the advantages are that structures are protected by law, which ensures that future generations will have and enjoy these facilities, and also there are extra funds allocated by the government for the conservation of lighthouses. In the third case, the comodatum contract, several advantages arise. For example, funds for conservation come from a third party, and improvements done by this third party stay with the Aids to Navigation Service, since we have the custody of land and signals. In order to have a general view, we have done this comparison chart, where we can see clearly the three strategies and different aspects that have an effect on the conservation of lighthouses. In summary, we can say that the renewal plan is the strategy that works the best for the conservation of Chilean historical lighthouses, because the main function of the lighthouse is a priority, and maintenance works are done constantly. Everything is controlled by direct mark, and we can work accordingly to our planning and immediate needs. In relation to national monuments, the good aspect is that there are extra funds to invest in maintenance and repairs, but everything gets a little bit slower when it comes to decisions on modification of structures. In the case of the comodatum contract, almost everything depends on the borrower, and it needs the supervision of the Chilean Navy. But, despite the less positive aspects of these strategies, the three of them complement each other, and thus conservation of lighthouses is fulfilled. Finally, some conclusions. We can conclude that these three strategies ensure the protection and conservation of aids to navigation structures and cultural assets, and the same is totally fulfilled. Lighthouses are protected by law, which guarantee that new generations will have and enjoy these navigation and historical assets. Finally, the opening of the lighthouses facilities to the public increases the diffusion of the Chilean Navy task and tourism in the area. It also brings extra funds from the government or a third party to the conservation of lighthouses of historical value at the end of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Dr. Gigano. Dr. Gigano is an engineer of the École Polytechnique and the École des Beaux. He's a historian, author of many books and papers about lighthouse history. He's in charge of the heritage issues for the French Maritime Administration. And his presentation is about the case of the Amadi Island Lighthouse in New Caledonia.
Thank you. Good morning. As Christian says, I'm a historian, so I was hired by the French administration to cope with heritage issues, which means heritage problems, because we are facing press campaigns every year in France about lighthouse heritage. So I've been through the issues, and I learned the word alternative use in the IALA manual. So I try to understand what kind of alternative use we can implement in France, and to promote them through projects. So I'm curious of existing experience, and IALA is a very important place to share this experience. So as a historian, I wrote pages and pages about Amadi Island. I've never been to Amadi Island before the job I got, and as my 10-year-old daughter said, I'm paid to visit Lighthouse, which is the best job in the world. So I've been to Amadi Island with the people of New Caledonia Lighthouse Authority and people of the Maritime Museum because of an exhibition about history. So I would like to share what I discovered on this island. First, where is New Caledonia? You know, it's a former or still French colony in the Pacific. Because of riots in the 80s, they are now in the process of autonomy, which could lead to independence. So aids to navigation turn under the authority of the local government, which means that technically speaking, New Caledonia could be a member